All right, viewers, welcome to another episode from Anything About Everything. This episode is something that I was really looking forward to. Not saying just because Shulmit is here, but this is something where I have met this person at a certain stage of life, and what he is right now is inspiring. It's like a dream come true. So for me, I am gonna ask him questions, how he did what he did. So, Shulmit, first of all, thank you so much for doing this for me.
Thank you very much for inviting me, Raghu. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. And looking forward to talking anything about everything with you.
Thank you so much. And for the audience, like Shulmit did another episode, another podcasting about, the fertilizer industry, and he talks about how what he did and what here he did what. So I link that to this, and this episode is gonna be more of like behind the scenes of why he did what he did, more decisions, what he took certain decisions and why he did that. So let's start off with how I met Shulmit. So I met Shulmit in India, in Bangalore, when he was representing University of Tampa and recruiting students, not exactly recruiting students, but representing University of Tampa in Bangalore and educating people about how University of Tampa is different. Shulmit, how did you get to do that?
I think in my first semester at the University of Tampa, I believed in a lot of networking. So I was in touch with Maria Cast for a very long period of time, who was our international recruiting director at the University of Tampa. And interacting with me, seeing how I'm like talking to people, I believe she found a spark which she thought she can utilize to attract more talent to come to University of Tampa. This is kind of a story which replicates exactly the relationship between me and you, by the way. So something I saw in you, which helped you getting into the international recruiting team. So yeah, I mean, she saw that, and she, I think, put forth this proposal to the dean. The dean kind of agreed, and that's how I was in the four cities in India, talking to you about my experience of being in University of Tampa and an international student in the United States, and the challenges and the positives of being there, and how to take things forward. And a couple of days back, in fact, I shared that first photo with you as well, which we kind of clicked. We look so young there. And yeah, I mean, eventually the whole point was that to communicate a message to the people, and to let them know that we are really looking forward to receiving them. And that's how that journey began. And it was something that I wanted to do. I took it as a platform to connect with people, because as a fresh person coming into the country, it always is a little bit challenging. You don't know the country, you don't have any idea what is it going to be like. And I thought this is a good chance to kind of connect with people, let them know my experience, for everyone like you to make an informed choice. So that's how it happened. I think Maria Cast was completely responsible for this, to finding that talent, and I believe somewhere I kind of honored her expectations, and a little bit made her proud as well along the way.
Definitely. I mean, I definitely like considered University of Tampa as my number one choice, and you hold a very high responsibility for that. The reason why I asked this question is like for someone who comes from India and studying in a foreign university, right? Like you're just new to the country,
Yeah,
and for you to crack that code where
yeah.
university pays you to go back to your country and recruit students, it's a really cool thing, right? It's like a dream come true for every student. Like everybody's still trying to figure this out, but you kind of cracked the code back then, if I may say.
No, I was saying that sometimes it's just not about the talent you have, Raghu. It's also about the people who are observing you. They need to have a vision. So you might be observed by a lot of people. If there is no vision, that talent is useless, because it'll never be utilized. So it's a blend of a lot of things. Yes, I cracked it, but I didn't know I was cracking it.
I think that gets to my next, like, I wanted to ask this further, but since you bring it up, so there's a famous quote which I believe in. Recognizing recognizing a talent is itself a bigger talent than having a talent, right? So I
Oh,
was not close to you.
absolutely.
I was never, I mean, I wouldn't say never. I was just like an acquaintance to you, and you had way like closer
Yes.
friends in some of them were your roommates. And back then, when you think of Land of Lay, everybody were helping their first acquaintance, like our first friendship out. I was like probably in the third circle or something. And for me to get a call from you saying, "Hey, I'm thinking of you as the next guy who, once I graduate, someone to take my position." First, I thought you were pranking. Second, I thought you were messing around with me because I thought it's gonna go for, I don't want to take out names. I thought it was gonna go out for someone else because in my house, it was a party house and everybody were talking almost like, oh yeah, Shumit is gonna go, he's gonna give me the job and stuff like that. So I'm like, I never thought that. So how does that happen? Like, one is you kind of answered like, recognizing talent, but also how did you overcome that? Okay, I'm not gonna take someone else who's my close one, but I'm gonna pick. I hope that I was the right one. I think so. But how do you make that decision?
See, to be honest, you have to recognize the role that you're looking to get someone in, right? I had played that part for quite a bit of time, and I exactly knew the kind of peers that we are going to have in that particular department. We needed someone who had a blend of Indianness, but as well as an international outlook. Someone who would not be overtly opinionated, but have it when it is needed. Someone who would like to have a balance between parting as well as doing serious work. Someone who can make sure, because we are outsiders, right? I mean, we are to United States. So if an Indian has to be recommended, he's probably carrying that bag of someone who's going to represent the whole community at some point, because that's how generalizations are made. So keeping all these aspects in mind, this is where we kind of came in, right? And that's where I realized that I have to be impartial, the first thing, because that in itself was a test for me as to tomorrow when I have to recruit people, for example, how am I going to be impartial and not going to be biased towards X, Y, or Z, right? So I had been observing because I knew someday I'm going to graduate and this position is going to open up. And if I'm kind of leaving this position, I would prefer to have someone, um, probably coming from my country, to be still associated with international recruiting, because there are so many people coming from India. Yes, you would need an Indian flavor to that whole team. And that's where, I had been observing you, the way you carry yourself, the kind of posture you have, the way you speak, the tone of your conversation, Raghu, it kind of matched with what I was doing. And I said that sometimes also when you're having heated arguments, you really need to take a kind of a step back in certain places and just let it play out and say, no, no, you're 100% right, and we just go by what you view. It doesn't. We don't have to take things personally, because eventually the greater good is that you have to work as a team. And that's all what you kind of portrayed. I mean, there were many people, of course, without a doubt, and everyone was trying to get this. Also, I don't like people who get too desperate to get into a job. So, personally speaking, I always prefer to pick someone, because that person also feels he has to live up to the potential because he's been picked. While it could go sideways also, you can start feeling really great about yourself, and that ego can go to your head, but you didn't seem like a guy like that, and I think you did your job to the fullest. I think Emily, who was the next person in charge before she left the college, actually came and told me that thank you very much for recommending Raghu. He's been a great addition to the team, and it was a great choice. So I think this was good enough for me to know that it was a good impartial decision, someone who could carry forward the legacy, and I believe it was a great choice. So overcoming that was just being rational, being impartial, and sometimes you have to look at the greater good, and sometimes your friends don't fit into it, and that doesn't mean that your acquaintances don't fit into it just because your friends don't. So you have to be a little bit cautious, because eventually it was my name attached to you as well. So I had to be cautious about recommending someone who comes back and says that, okay, you recommended the right guy, and I feel good about it, because then I also get a tick in internally, that I can recognize talent. So I'm getting into the C suite. When I'm talking to people, I have to recognize them, and do I need to add to my team. And now with the position in which I am, I've already recruited a couple of people in my team. It just helped me, in this process, to kind of go through it again, re-experiencing that whole thing, and it was a great experience, man.
Awesome, awesome. So even your presentation in India, when you were giving us, we had like probably there were like 7, 8 colleges from US only, and there was colleges from Canada, and we had to attend different presentations. Your presentation or representation of University of Tampa was kind of unique. There was like, okay, what's University of Tampa going to offer you? Majority of it, but 20% also there was a little personal touch to it, saying when you get in, get your driving license, get this done, get like, you had a checklist irrespective of any university. That was actually amazing. That was really, how did you think about that?
Because I faced it, man. I mean, I realized when I had to pick up, 4 bags all by myself from a Walmart and walk for a mile back home. That was a point where I realized that this is not going to work long term. This is not going to really work long term. And then I started, kind of talking to people, getting a hang of things. My American friends started, questioning me. I met some really cool guys, Brayton and Justin. These two guys have been really one of my backbone during that time period, and extremely helpful. There was another guy, he was just there for a semester, Jackson Morgan, and he was extremely helpful for the semester that he was there. All these guys would put these small small things into my head in order to make my life easier. And this is something that I decided, that if I'm going to be going and giving presentation, I need to add these things so that people come mentally prepared. And that's where I started the WhatsApp group. Once we knew who are the people who are going to be coming in, and it was amazing, man. People started asking questions. I made them feel a little bit more at home, in various ways. We had online calls. A couple of them attended, couple of them didn't. But I believe a lot of people benefited from it, because there was a personal touch attached to it. And that's how you make people feel at home, because there is someone whom you can rely on when you go there. There is someone who will be there to whom you can go and ask questions. To be honest, through that 2 years, there were also people who were only connected to me only to solve problems. We had no relationship beyond that. They would just connect with me to ask me questions, find a way out. No hi, no hello thereafter. Even after completing, this is just a like congratulations note. But to be honest, it I wasn't offended at all, because if someone is benefiting, and I believe in karma, right? So you keep doing good as much as you can. Beyond that point, you have to leave certain things to the person above, and it will all take its due course. Because if every time you keep thinking that, if I help you, what do you do for me in return, it becomes a very transactional thing. Anyway, your life is enough transactional to put transaction part in every aspect of your life. So give yourself some break, to be honest. And it is important that you just follow your heart, and I just did what my heart told me at that time.
Amazing. And taking a step right after your graduation, you did MBA, and then you worked for a little bit. But what got that switch, or what was that opportunity that you got where you moved back to chemical engineering uh, industry?
So, after I completed all the semesters, we had the summer period, the last part, where I got my internship with a company called Yara International. It's a Norwegian company, and they have an office right in Tampa area. So I decided to like join them because they were a chemical company and they wanted something on the business lines. Um, and I had heard a lot about that company. So I joined them. I did my 3 months internship with them. I had a great time. I'm still in touch with both my mentors there, Henry and Nelson. Those guys were the first ones to whom I sent my podcast, which I did the other day. Um, just as a memory, because they were my first mentors. It was a great time. They were really supportive. It was also, I was earning a good pay there, decently good. I would have loved to continue working there, but unfortunately, they had a kind of a rule which said that we needed at least 2 years of experience in the same industry to be recruited. Anyway, a loss for some is a win for someone else. And in that regard, I think the company based in Latvia was approached me, and I moved there. And I just loved the whole part of being connected with my chemical industry and doing the business aspect of things because I had just finished my MBA. So a place where I could club the both part and be, kind of have an allegiance to my chemical engineering degree just gave me that comfort that I could blend both things and take things forward. So yeah, that's where that was my turning point. That's where I realized that even though I don't want to do hardcore chemical engineering, maybe I can do the business side of the chemicals aspect. So that's where I kind of decided, and I pivoted to that role, and then decided to pivot to that industry thereafter.
So in this process, right? So you came from India to US trying to get a job yet. The job search phase we all go through. And then I'm guilty of it at a certain point too. So most of us, whether we say it or no, when you come from India, if you don't have an opportunity in US or you're not cracking the like job market, you feel like you're good for nothing. So for you to make that brave move of saying, okay, I'm gonna go to Latvia, like, I'm gonna figure everything out there. How did you do that? Like, was it difficult? Was it scary? Or was it like, I'm just gonna go and adventure out? Like, what was running through you, like in your brains?
To be honest, I didn't know where Latvia was on the map. Um, but knowing the fact that I'm not going to have a job in the US with all the complications of H1B, even though I felt I was capable enough, I just had this aspect of getting a job, and I was like, okay, there's no problem. Life doesn't come to an end. um, if something is not meant to happen in a certain country, somewhere else I'll be able to shine because I have faith in my knowledge. I have faith in myself, and I will figure it out. Actually, a lot of people from my family were quite concerned because I had a $60,000 loan that I had to pay back. And that loan was based on a co-signed person, Mr. Viren Khandekar, who kind of helped me out, to get this loan. And somehow he was always confident that I will be able to take care of everything over a period of time. So he never really asked me, "Are you paying the EMIs, or are you paying back the loan?" He never asked me that in that whole course of my repayment schedule. But one fine day, when I paid all the loan back, I kind of contacted him and told him that I paid everything back. However, going back to Latvia, so I of the 20 people I spoke to, only one person knew about Latvia, and I said, okay, I'm going to go there and I'm going to figure it out. And it was a complete shot in the dark. I didn't know what I was signing up for, to be honest. But after working with the company for 5.5 years before moving back to India, I have absolutely no regret. It was an immense amount of learning. It was a lot of pressure, but it was something that I loved it. And hence, I'm still continue to be in the same industry. But those 5.5 years is something I will carry with me for the rest of my life.
Wow. Wow. So what is the lifestyle difference between Latvia and US?
It's extremely a big difference, Raghu. In US, you have English language, which makes life much more easier. People are quite open. People are easy to communicate with, talk with. Maybe you may not have like a personal relationship, but you at least have this idea of asking each other, "Hey, how's it going?" When you're walking into a supermarket and someone's walking out, they're like, "Hey, how's it going?" And you're like, "Hey, I'm doing good. How's it going?" And you have this thing. The country is Latvia is an ex-Soviet country, uh, very freshly in the last 20-25 years added to the European Union. Um, the weather is extremely cold. Yes, it's around -25 during really bad winter times. Generally, people are very to themselves, so it's not much of a smiling nation, to be honest, because there is a history to it. Yeah, and without getting too much into it, it's like a 180 degrees difference. The newer generation now is like things are changing, but historically, they're very much to themselves and they like it that way. I mean, we need to respect that aspect as well, that it's them, their family, and it's like the three of them, and they have a great time within themselves. They have their relatives that they go to, but they have a very individualistic kind of lifestyle. They are self-sufficient. They're very, very well learned. They have, they are more acrobatic and very, very athletic in their nature because they go skiing to various places, as opposed to in America, it's more about going to see a football game, going to see a baseball game, as opposed to playing it. The younger generation might be now coming up and taking all these things to a next level, but it was like a complete change. So my first 6 months, I just was trying to understand what am I actually doing here, and is this all worth it? To be honest. But it's a great, like I said, you need to get an experience of everything in life, and this was probably meant to happen to me. And I take it ahead from there, and I say, yeah, it was. I took a lot of time, actually, to be honest, to get through to the people, to develop the confidence, and to gain the trust. So that was quite a challenging task. It took me around a year, to be honest. But again, the journey to there is also quite funny. I'll just take a couple of minutes more to tell you that it was my interview was planned for 4 a.m. in the morning for this job, US time, because I was still in the United States, and I overslept uh, for this interview. So that got cancelled. And our commercial director at that time, who now doesn't work with us anymore, but commercial director at that time, he was a Turkish person, extremely annoyed with me. But somehow, within another 7 to 10 days, I again got an opportunity through him. Again, he said, "Let's give it a shot." And I was up at 3 a.m. in the morning, just all suited up, sitting in front of the laptop for this interview. So, in order to not miss the time, so yeah, it was Mr. Emra Basaran. We had a great talk for an hour, and he wanted to set up this whole international trading business in Latvia and Riga. Then I was interviewed by my manager at that time, Mr. Anderson Nascimento. Had a great time, fun guy. And yeah, I mean, it ended up being great in the sense that these guys recognized beyond my nationality. It was much more easier to get work permit in Latvia because of my work experience. So it's justifiable that I can get in to the country and work for a trading company. Actually, we were producers ourselves at that time also, but we had a trading arm in Riga. So I was the youngest of the lot in the team, and it was a. I mean, I can tell you, it sometimes just feels like a dream to me that this how come all of this happened, and I'm really thankful to all of them who were instrumental in this, starting from my parents, my mother, more importantly, who's no more. But yeah, I mean, it has been a marvelous journey thereafter. No complaints.
So, and then again, going through. timelines
Yes.
of your life. So you were in Latvia, you you were figuring things out, you kind of figured out, and then you moved up, but there was a tragic event. I'm sorry about that, and you had to move back to India. And when you were moving back to India, I will let you talk more about it. I know you had to start from scratch, if I may say again. And how did you go through that? Because when you experience like going high and then going low, it's actually kind of like depressing for a lot of people. How did you handle that? Like what measures you took to keep yourself motivated?
So the thing is, the first and the foremost thing that we really need to get things out of our head is a country defines what your future is going to be. Today, we talk about doctors without borders. They are doctors wherever they go in the world, correct? So I remain an engineer and a person with a qualified MBA degree, whether I am in US, whether I am in Latvia, whether I am in Africa, or whether I am in India. I carry a certain amount of skill set. I need to believe in it. The pay scales in all these countries is different because the standard of living is different. It's unrealistic for you to feel that you're having a $20,000 per month salary in the United States. So you should get an equivalent 17 lakhs per month in India. It is just unreasonable to expect something like that in today's time. If you have the confidence in yourself, whether you start from the bottom, for example, if you have that capability, your talent is going to be eventually recognized because it's going to be seen. So I had to only tell this to myself, which I already knew. And I was like, I have no qualms in going back to my home country and working and adding value to another organization who's ready to recruit me. So I never saw it as a step down at all. I just saw it as an
No,
opportunity,
not even for a minute.
not even for a minute, because I saw it as an opportunity. I said, see, I went to the US. I got an opportunity to move to Latvia. Did I plan for it? Did I see Latvia as a step down? No, it actually ended up being two steps up than what I was doing in the United States, right? Who would imagine, an Eastern European country, you would have this kind of a feedback, right? Then you go back to your own country. What is the harm, man? It's my country. I'm going back to my country, adding value to an organization which is as Indian as it could be, and you're going to be again trying to create something new there. You're hired at a position where you may have a chance to do something different. Yes, you may grow slowly. Yes, you may have a lot of office politics, but that's everywhere in the world. So I never had any doubts in my mind that I'm doing something like a step down. No, that was never there. And in today's time, people like us, in our generation, or even the generation after mine, my brother's generation, for example, they don't shy away from shifting jobs within a year. So you don't like something, you move. Yeah, I didn't like it. Like I'm getting 20% more, I move. I'm not even getting into the point whether it's good or bad. The point here is that wherever you go in the world, if you have the talent, you have the capability, and if you have the capacity to manage stress, you will be able to succeed. Right? There is no doubt. The definition of succeed could change. It cannot be the same. If you feel getting $20,000 a month is successful and getting 5 lakhs a month is not successful, I think as per Indian standard, it's not a bad salary. It's really a good salary. You can sustain extremely well. And hence, I just looked at it as an opportunity, man. Every time I do any shifts, I just look at them as an opportunity to do something good, do something different, take advantage of whatever other resources available to you, and go around, man. Just educate the people around you and tell them and keep them motivated. And I kept when I was leaving United States, and people kept asking me, "Why are you leaving the US?" A lot of people were saying, "Why don't you just like get married and get citizenship?" And I was like, "Guys, I've not studied so hard to utilize these routes, right? If I fall in love, it's another thing, but I think I have capability of doing it all by myself, and if I don't do it, doesn't mean I've failed. It's just my calling is something else. I just follow where my heart takes me or my mind takes me." So when I went to Latvia, everyone was like, "Oh my God, you're committing an error." But I looked at it as an opportunity. I was paying back my US dollar loan using euros, man, and euro was stronger than United US dollars. So that helped me pay back faster, right? So I looked at it always as an opportunity. So going back to India was not at all like a step down for me. It was an opportunity to, maybe sometimes, to prove the critics wrong. A part of me was probably thinking of that more than a step down, to be honest.
Got it. Yeah, when I meant step down was more like in terms of like your work because you moved up like in the ladder and then you had to start with a different job in a more like a entry, I would, if I may say, entry level, and then again you had to work your way up. So I was trying to think in that way.
No, I was the head of international sales in Tata Chemicals in the food ingredients business. So what was the difference is the quantum of work had changed drastically because selling fertilizers is selling thousands of tons of product, and selling food ingredients is like selling kgs of product. So what basically changed was a mindset of selling 20, 30,000 tons a year to selling 400 tons per month, 300 tons per month, which was something which I was still getting used to because that was like around 4,000 tons a year versus 30,000 tons a year. So it's like maybe 10, 11% or 13% of it. So psychologically, what was the more challenging part was to deal with this aspect of selling lesser volume but high margin versus selling a lot of volume, low margin, but of course the revenue there was much higher. It was linked, it was KPIs linked to our performances. So it was so handling that was more challenging than because I moved at a higher position. So I was a regional sales manager. I moved as head of international sales, and then from there in Dubai I moved as a director and CEO. So with respect to the tree of growth, that was not a problem in terms of the designation. What was more challenging about handling the quantum of work, which was I felt I was a little underutilized and I had the capability of doing more, but that only you can prove to a fresh organization by your actions. And by the time I could do it, I already had this opportunity in Dubai. So I kind of pivoted quickly back to Dubai with big volumes, something more creative to do.
And how did that opportunity come across, like straight up like the CEO opportunity? How did that come up to you?
So this was all the hard work in Latvia, and the company that I worked for at that time, due to whatever reasons, global political reasons, we had to shut down our offices there, and they were opening up a new office. They already had an office here with a different name, and that company was functioning on a certain level and on trading business. And we wanted to get into the distribution business, so they were launching a new company. And typically, the organization works more on trust because it's a foreign organization. They're mostly Eastern European people in it, and keeping that aspect in mind, they wanted a fresh young face to basically be shown a more international face whom they can trust. And that's how I landed up in that whole equation. So it was easier because it made logical sense, for me to get to Dubai to work with them because this was the same team. The board of directors already knew me decently well. They knew my selling skills. They also knew that the region that we are going to be handling in terms of Southeast Asia had an Asian mindset. Eastern Europeans meeting Asian mindset without really having a courtship period. So they wanted someone who could understand and bridge this gap faster. And that's how I fit into this entire equation. And I'm glad I took this leap. I've been in this role now for a year and a half. We made some very good strides in the Southeast Asian region. And we're still growing, man. I mean, every day is a new day, and every day is a new step you take towards success.
Awesome. I think you might be the best person to ask this question. In US, everything that's organic is way more expensive. Organic means no fertilizer, no pesticides. So I really want to know, like, what's exactly organic farming means, and like what does so is every fertilizers or every like kind of pesticides that they use to grow, is it bad? Like, what is it?
So the thing is, when you talk about organic manure, for example, in India we call it as khat. So organic manure is something which comes organically, in the sense that it is not processed. So it could come from chicken feed, it could come from cow dung. Uh, the problem is that all of these things have got the necessary nutrients. It's just that they take a lot of time to be absorbed by the plants. Now, if we have to feed 8 billion people, it's extremely hard to use only organic farming to basically see if you can sustain and supply to the whole world the food, because food value chain is very critical. So Sri Lanka had tried this for a year, where they said they will stop importing chemical fertilizers, and they will only import or produce or use organic fertilizers. And what happened is, after a year, they really had to start importing crops, because the crops didn't grow in time. They weren't given enough nutrition. The next year, they got back to importing chemical fertilizers. Now, um, these chemical fertilizers that we produce are basically coming from natural gas, produces ammonia, and then ammonia is like the base raw material for making urea also, and various other nitrogen fertilizers, nitrogen, phosphates, and potash. So potash is coming from, it's called potassium chloride, comes from mines. It's a mined product. Phosphates are also mined. They come from, phosphate rocks. And these mines are available in multiple countries in Africa, in Vietnam. Um, and there is nitrogen, which basically comes from natural gas. So, these are quick fertilizers which kind of are quickly absorbed by the plant, because they are produced in a way where they have NPK in one granule, and they're quickly absorbed by the plant. Now, there are studies, there are researches which justify it as positive. They justify, some of them say it's like unhealthy and stuff, but 8 billion people using organic fertilizers, it is extremely hard, to be honest. It has to be, the chemical fertilizers end up playing a very critical role in the value chain, and any up or down in the pricing of these chemical fertilizers can actually affect the crop prices, which can then make it difficult for a common man to buy vegetables from the market. So organic farming, of course, it's good, but you can do it at a small scale. Like you and I, we can do it in our backyard. Yes, we have all the time in the world for the things to grow, because we still have a continuous supply of vegetables and crops coming from the market. And then when they grow, of course, you can utilize them, and you can use them, and eat them, whatever. I mean, it's up to you, but it takes time. Yeah, so the evidences are not yet there about organic farming, but if they have some precision organic farming, if they are able to come up, and research is ongoing, today I'm saying this, maybe 2 years later organic farming might pick up, because they may process organic fertilizers in a way by which they become more effective. And there are companies who are working on it, but pesticides don't have any alternatives currently. So there is no way pesticides have any alternatives in an organic way. You can have organic certifications, but those are all managed certifications. So, um, for pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, if you have to keep all the these insects away from your crops, currently I don't think there is any alternative. It's just that the more R&D that you do, that more of these fertilizers, pesticides which are used. So there are two portions, which is crop protection, which is all these herbicides, insecticides, fungicides, and there is crop nutrition, which is the chemical fertilizers and the organic fertilizers. So it's broken down into two parts. So one is gives nutrition, the other is what protects it. So that's how this system works in unison. And currently, for chemical pesticides and chemical fertilizers, the alternatives are very far and few. And I don't think research could be on, but it doesn't make sense right now. We have to rely on them. I don't want to be the guy who promotes these things, but it is a reality, and I'm just saying it as it is.
Got it. Jumping a little bit to your personal life again, I keep following you on WhatsApp with your workout regime, with your marathons. So I was reading a book, I think a week ago, and in the book it mentions like it's from Timothy Ferris. So Richard Branson does multiple, he owns multiple businesses. He's like, how do you do it? How do you have energy to do everything? And he kind of, I might be butchering, he kind of said it's counterintuitive, but I work out, right? So I feel like workout is very integral part of life. I try to follow it. Here and there, I'm guilty of missing it for a couple months, but also I try to get on it. The biggest reason that we give ourselves to anyone is I don't have time. So, can you talk about your workout regime? How did you get into it, and how do you manage your time?
So in 2021, I kind of lost my mom, and I got into this really bad habit of whenever being stressed to eat. And there was a day when I was tying my shoelaces, and my stomach was my pot belly was coming in the way, and I realized this is not done, and I was having a little bit hard time breathing because of that, going down and tying your shoelaces. I said, this is not done. So I just put it into my schedule that every day after I'm back from work, I have to go out and complete 10,000 steps. So I put music in my ears and I started walking. And that's what I did for the first 3 to 4 months is I was out and I was completing 10,000 steps daily. And I would keep a track of it, and I would keep a track of what I'm eating. So eating did not change much initially, but then when I started getting a hang of it, the legs started getting more stronger. I started running. So I did 1 kilometer, and then I was absolutely out of breath, and I was like, I couldn't even do 1 kilometer. I mean, that was really really bad. So I did 1 kilometer run, 1 kilometer walk, 1 kilometer run, 1 kilometer walk, and I cut down on my time of socializing for a bit, and I focused more on my health. And I think I started doing these 5 kilometer runs. Like this is the challenge that I put to myself, and I said I have to do these 5 kilometer runs, and somehow I was able to reach in 6 months time. I was able to reach that time, and it was all self motivated. It was like I need to get fit. I also needed to know, when I was, now that you're getting into the position of CEO and stuff, you need to have a story to tell the world. So at the back of my mind, it was like, I need to do this for myself as well as we are every day we are living, we are creating a story for ourselves. And then that's how I decided that this is the path forward. And then you start getting medals for every 5 kilometer, 10 kilometer, 21 kilometer runs that you do if you register for them. So that started getting a little addictive. And then I moved to Dubai, and then I had a lot more time on my hand because in the morning I would get up. The office hours were from 10 p.m. to 7 p.m. I didn't have any friends. For the first four months, I was just living out of an hotel because we're still forming the company. So I would go in the morning for a 1 hour run, and then I would come back in the evening and go and do weight exercises. So it became a practice, and then it became addiction, and then it became like I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. And then when business trips started, I was like, okay, on business trips I have to make time. And then I started doing online runs because now in Dubai the temperatures are so high, so you can't run much outside. Um, so now these medals have become like really addictive for me. So I have these whole set of online runs that I do You submit your details to online, and then they courier the medal to you. So the regime has been very strict in terms of being available and doing things on time. But the critical part is the food. So if you don't have control on your food, no matter how much you work on your exercises, it doesn't make sense. And so food forms a very critical part. So my schedule every day is I get up at 7. I sometimes have gym sessions from 7:30 to 8:30, and when I have gym sessions in the morning, then I go to work thereafter. And when I'm back in the evening, I go for a 5 kilometer run in the gym itself on a treadmill. Sometimes when I'm in the mood, I make it a 10 kilometer run. Come back home, eat food, keep it highly proteinaceous diet, lots of salad, lots of fiber, lots of water, and just keep doing it on a repeat schedule. And I lost 20 kilos over a period of time. But if you don't maintain it, you can put on the weight back, because our Indian bodies are not very athletic naturally. So if we miss it for 10 days, for example, you can see all the fat kind of coming back to you. So unless you're strict about it, to achieve your final goal is quite challenging.
Awesome. And if I may get a little personal, Shulmit Bhai, it might sound like I might need some advice here too. So you you are you are single and you're not married. And do you think because you were single and not married, you could take all these risks? And for a person who wants to take a lot of risks in life, is it mandatory that he has to stay single and not married?
It's a catch-22 situation, boss. It's a, you have to be, it's like what came first, whether the eggs came first or the chicken came first. Um, the reason I have been single is purely because I had only one goal. We were not financially very well off, and I had to get financial stability. And I had in my head decided that the financial stability that I need, I do not need any distraction in life. And distraction would mean any distraction. A lot of people have told me that having a partner is always beneficial. I will never know that because I never had that. So I've seen people coming out of like real poverty, yet getting married and becoming really successful in life, right? So it is their story. But my story has been that I could take all these risks, yes, because I wasn't having any strings attached anywhere. I could just pick up my bag when I had to come to United States. I could just do it. When I had to leave for Latvia, I could just put my bag on and I left. And when I had to leave Latvia to Mumbai, no problem again. And Mumbai to Dubai again, no problem. So none of these things, to be honest, came in my way because, of course, I was single. But you don't get everything in life. Compromise is a part of life. So it's like you have to make a internal agreement with yourself that um, which path do you want to choose, the path of achieving everything by yourself, or the path of doing it together. The path of doing it together will always have some aspects which are good and bad, and the path of doing it by yourself also has. Because what has happened in the process is, if you've not dated anyone, you've not been with someone, you've not had a partner, uh, then you kind of get overtly close to the idea of having a partner because you are doing everything by yourself. Then you don't need a kind of a distraction, which is not good, because humans are not meant to be living alone. They should be as a unit. Yes, because not everything can be managed by you. There is a lot more to learn from the other sexes also, right? But at the same time, when you do it together, someone or the other has to compromise in the process. And if there is a very good tuning between the two people, then that's okay. And we've seen so many cases in University of Tampa where a guy has come and then the girl has tagged along, and she's like struggling, but for a better life in the US, they've kind of made amends. And I believe some of them have actually ended up being really stable after a struggle of initial 5 to 7 years of their life. A couple of them are doing pretty well for themselves in the US. So uh, there you have the success stories. Here you have one doing it single handedly. So my recommendation to you is, if you have a partner who kind of understands you well and is ready to take these plunges with you, by all means, man, just go in for it. But if you are not confident and you're just about yourself as well as what you're going to do in the future, and then the girl is also like ready to do and say that I don't care, we'll just go with the flow, right? And I won't crib about anything. There's no harm to do it together as a group. It's just that I probably my timings were all off. When I found someone whom I liked, I was moving countries. When I was not moving countries, I did not find someone whom I liked. So for me, was always a zigzag. And then I had submitted to the fact that it is what it is. If I'm getting something, I'm not getting. It's like a balancing act in life. I will eventually, everything will be fine, but I cannot beat my destiny. So let's just go with the flow and let time take its course. So I didn't want to like keep questioning that why is this happening to me? Why am I not? Like, why am I single? Why do I not get a partner? It could be a me problem as well. I mean, it's just not about moving jobs. It's about my criterias might be too difficult to manage to find someone. And every time I see a 4 out of 5, I say no. I need a 5 out of 5. It's hard to say, man. But whatever works for you, Raghu. To be honest, doing everything alone, it's like just too much of burden on your shoulders. If you can find someone to do it along with you, I think it will be a more pleasurable and a more amazing path forward. And you all grow together. You all see yourself at the worst. You all see it together at the best. You have this whole range that you can check each other, the checks and balances might just end up being a lovely relationship going forward. And I'm complete believer of romance. So I think if given a chance, if I had to redo something, that would be something I would have redone.
Wow, wow. Amazingly said, amazingly said. So when I see a life, like I know you don't see it that way, but when I just picture it, it's like there's a little up, there's a little down, there's up, down, then there's like different, escalations. So amidst all this, like I've learned a lot in just talking to you in last an hour. So if you have to put in a couple sentence, so everyone who gets into college, everyone who starts a job, at least in the corporate world, everyone wants to climb up the corporate ladder, right? Like start somewhere, then end up in a CEO. So if you have to give someone a blueprint in a couple sentence, what do they have to keep in mind? Few things for them to achieve like the highest level in what they want in the corporate world.
I had a very good friend in University of Tampa. He comes from a country which currently is quite spoken about. So I won't take the name, but his line always was, you know him very well, by the way, Munib. So he was like, you got to be on top of your game, right? That kind of, he was like, Shulmit, let me tell you one thing in life. Whatever you do, buddy, like you got to be on top of your game. And that stuck with me. So, whatever you want to do in life, Raghu, or whoever is listening to this podcast, is be best at it. It doesn't matter how soon in life you reach the CEO position. You can reach that at the age of 30, you can reach that at the age of 28, you can reach that at the age of 60. What matters is, in whichever field you are, do you have a very good grasp and a very good understanding of that business? A complete 360 about the business. And that is the most critical aspect that needs to be kept in mind. Because if that is not there, growing up, you're going to be in a system of makeshift arrangements. They will work for a while, but not very long. So you have to have a complete understanding. So you may be good at marketing, you're not good at finance. Spend some time in finance department. Yeah, just learn the nuances of it from a corporate perspective. This rule can be applied anywhere across all kinds of corporate life, non-corporate life, personal life. Whatever you do, select a couple of things, but do it extremely well. Be the best at it. Make sure you're not missing out on anything. Always take help of mentors. Always reach out to people, take their help. because it's impossible for a human mind to know everything at all times. You will always learn from something all the time, and that's the most critical part. So, guys, don't try to rush. Take your time. Imagine if you become a CEO at the age of 35, and for the next 25 years of your life, you just have to be a CEO. It's a very lonely and alone job, man. I mean, then you will lose the whole essence of being a CEO of a company because you've just done that for 25 years. It's like, I'm not doing anything different. Think about being a little bit different from the crowd. Yes, keep your goals high, know your potential, and then keep your goals. Like, if you're not good at something and you know that you're not going to be able to reach those levels, don't have unrealistic goals which will then make you sad or depressed or whatever. So know yourself. There is a beautiful thing that happens when you're like onboarding a customer. It's called know your customer. Something like that, very similar. You need to have a kind of a checklist for yourself. It says know yourself, and just follow that checklist, tick all the boxes, write everything down. You don't even need to go to anyone else. You will also have to know where, in which direction you're going. If there are some confidence that you believe in, confidants that you believe in, go to them, tell them what you feel. They can give you a feedback, and it always helps. Yes, you can be trained to do a lot of things with good mentors, right? Utilize the resources. Don't have ego that I will do everything by myself. You go to people for help. There's nothing wrong in it. I went to so many people for help, man, and everyone in their own capacity helped me. Some of them didn't matter. Again, point was, I wanted information. I got what I wanted. I assimilated it. I decided what was right for me. I filtered out the things I didn't want, and I moved ahead. And I think that helps a lot, man. I mean, successful people, if you see, they cut the clutter, they cut the noise, and they focus on what is important. And if you are able to learn even this much from the people, I think you already are on the road to success. You may not get the CEO tag, but that's okay. Success doesn't always mean that you have to be a CEO of a company, because CEO can be only one.
Great, great. So you dropped a lot of gems in this conversation throughout. Any final words to me or my audience, anything that you want to address?
Um, Thanks first of all, Raghu, for giving me this opportunity. You asked me a lot of questions where I had to deep dive a little bit inside within me to get them out, to be a little inhibition free, to share it with everyone. To be honest, it's a great platform that you have started this, and I think you should continue and get people from different walks of life to talk about it, because I myself keep going through your sessions with people, and you talk about a lot of things. And I think to create that diversity, you should get people from different walks of life to share their experiences. And I'm sure, as anything about everything, grows further in the years to come and the months to come, you'll do that. And basically, my best wishes to you, and thank you very much for like inviting me for this. It was quite unanticipated, to be honest. But I also didn't know whether I had a great story to share enough to kind of get some people inspired in their own respective ways. But I've tried my best to be as honest as possible in this. And to the people, keep watching anything about everything. I think Raghu is basically talking to so many people. You can just pick up the snippets from everywhere, whatever you kind of identify with, and learn a lot from it. So I think you're on a great track, Raghu, and I'm really, really happy to see you succeed and progress so well. We of course have we keep in touch in different forms and ways, but I hope someday in this year or maybe the early next year we get a chance to catch up for a whole day where we can like spend time together and relive some old memories.
Thank you so much for the kind word, Shumit. It means a lot. Yeah, means a lot to me. Definitely, you have inspired a lot of people. I'm 100% sure, no second doubt about it. You've inspired me in a lot of ways. You've given me my first opportunity in US, and that definitely that you'll have a very high regard for me in my life. Anywhere that I start my story in US, yes, a lot of difficulty, but I also say like there was one man who recognized me out of the dark, like a movie beginning. But yeah, thank you so much for the kind words.
No, I mean, I just probably, it's all about, you get that thing from somewhere, you know. Why was it only you? Why was it not the 13 others who were your roommates, or, someone else who were my roommates, for example? But it was something about you that brought out, and now you're still in the US, you're doing so well for yourself. So, in my opinion, I think you've done a great job, man. I mean, I'm extremely proud of you and really looking forward to the next steps that come out of your stay there. How is all that going to shape up? I'm really looking forward to that.
Thanks a lot. There's some amazing stuff that it's gonna pan out, which I'm planning. But yeah, I'll definitely keep you in loop with it, and I would love for you to be a part of it as well. Yeah, thank you so much for doing this for me, Shulmit.
Thanks a lot, man, and have a great year. It was lovely talking to you, Raghu.